I personally went to the Holy Land a few years ago and visited some nice places. But one thing they impressed upon me is when they get quarried the stone in the Middle East, you could almost cut it with a knife.
Yeah.
It's wet. Then when it's been out in the sun it goes hard. That's what happened to this. So they bring it down and the building. What do they use for foundations? Wood. Before very long, when they started to build, or before they can start to build, as we sit in here, the first two bays of the nave, all strictly Norman. You can see the dog-tooth carvings and everything. Mm-hmm. This part was the church while they were building. While they were actually building, this was the church. Mm-hmm. All the monastic buildings, although incidentally the Normans always built east to west. Yeah. And all the monastic buildings were on the warm south side, cloisters, nice and warm, not on the cold north. Right. I've got here an history of burials that took place in the Abbey, even before the dissolution. But ordinary people didn't get buried in church. In some cases they would have even buried in their own houses where they'd lived. Now, and so, as they built, started in 1100, and the nave, this section, finished in 1230, because of the time it takes to build. And I don't know whether we'll be able to see them this afternoon as we go around, but you're going to ask me, how did they get the stone up there? Easy. What they did, put wood in, made an area, say knock a piece, leave a piece like that, put a piece of wood in, pull it up. In that part of the church, I went up there one day, and you can actually see these pieces of stone. They went with that hole. This is the width of the walls here. But just in that little bit at the front where the wood went in, they take it out and they just plunk a bit of stone over the top in case they need it again. They weren't silly, if you understand. So, what they did, they worked westwards. They put the pillars in, but they also put that wall in, because that's where the cloisters were going to be, and all the monastic buildings on the south side. What I'm telling you now is just the way they did it. We shall see it this afternoon as we go around, we'll see it in more detail. But this is a Benedictine monastery, which is an open order monastery. But then you've got the closed order monasteries. And a great difference, because today a Benedictine monastery, a town built around it. A closed order monastery is a ruin. It goes ruinous. Near Sheffield, where you live, or where you are, Outerbridge, Bratfield, there's a place there where the nuns live. And it's not long ago, a doctor couldn't go inside to treat anybody that was ill, because he was a man. There were no lady doctors then, and so he couldn't go in. And outside Selby, we have one. And I went in the ambulance and going for my treatment to pick another up. And she actually said she'd been there for 30 years. And she said we had a, what do they call them in crews or something, a young lady came to join them who'd lived in Selby. And she said, I've never seen Selby Abbey. But she told us what a wonderful building it was. So when they go into these places, it's a new life, isn't it? Terrible life. I couldn't even dream of it myself. And this is the point. We had crusades, didn't we? To the Middle East and various places. All right, you have crusades. Who fought the crusades? The church and the monks. And when the monks came back from the crusade, they were no longer any use to the church. And so the abbots at the monasteries said, right, they were all rewarded with land. You see, this is what they'd give the troops, some land. And so the abbots of the monastery said to them, if you come into the abbey, come into our monastery, give us your land, we'll give you eternal life. Good deal. And that was one of the problems when Henry VIII dissolved the monasteries. The monasteries owned the most of the land. A lot of them say, well, we did it for the money. But the monastery, there wasn't much for him to own, because the monasteries owned it. And this was one of the most powerful monasteries. And I have accounts in Lincolnshire and places like that, where every year they go through these, well, it's like a remembrance thing of what life was, and they, under the monastery when they had to pay 5 shillings or something to Selby,